Hi, this is Zach Mayer with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Tuesday, the 1st of July. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is still in a range between 8,700 and 8,800, looking for that end of day close above 8,800 to give us a move up to as high as 90.20 or 30 by the end of this month. Presumably, at some point, there'll be a test of the 50-day line there at 86.81 as it starts to rise, still rising sharply. Our side just above the neutral 50 level, so we are still hoping that we're half full rather than half empty. Next on the list is the DAX, and here sort of dithering above the old March resistance and above the 50-day line of 23,500. While we're above that, looking for the top rising trend channel from the spring of 24 up to the 25,000 level. Again, hopefully by the end of this month. RSI at 54, so in a good place at the moment. Moving on to the Dow, which I suppose is moving ahead of schedule now, or is it schedule? I don't know. Here we've had a double dip for the RSI at neutral 50, which tends to be a good leading indicator on the upside. It's been like that. It has been so over the last few days. Above the broken June resistance there, 43,200. Looking for not only the record highs at 45,000, but as high as 47,300 by the end of this month. Obviously, it's quite a punchy call, but it's been a punchy market, especially as we're going into a golden cross between the 50 and 200 day lines, which should materialize well before the end of this month. Moving on to Bitcoin, and here, I suppose the best description is that it's steady, which is rather surprising given the way that we've got Bitcoin treasury companies buying Bitcoin every day. Rather surprising that we haven't broken that line of resistance there from May around 109, end of day close above 109, and we could hit the top of the rising trend channel from back in March last year, as high as 125,000 by the end of this month. Obviously, that's the best case scenario, especially on timing. On the downside, a break of the 50-day line at 106, and we could be looking for another retest of the 100,000 area. RSI just still hanging on above the neutral 50 level, but it has to be said, after yesterday's failure to get through that May resistance line, slightly disappointing. Gold is next on the list, and here you can see that it had a bit of a rug pull, which perhaps not surprising after all the failures to get through 3,400. Also, we haven't had any major geopolitical disasters over the last week or so, so not a driver there. But it does look like a rug pull given the way that we rallied off the open of the candle yesterday. I want to see an end of day close back above the 50-day line there, 33.03. The low that we had, actually, we were looking for 32.50 as a potential low, so a bear trap rebound from below that. And also, we'd like to get above the 50-day line because then we'd be back in that rising trend channel from back in March. Not maybe a bit early to get rid of that rising channel, but at the moment, let's see if we can get back above that 50-day line. And it would just be a 1 or 2 day rug pull. RSI at 46, also need to see that back above neutral 50 as well. Moving on to the stocks, and here you can see that rather sort of weird actually in a way, because just looking for or thinking that Boston could be a riser, and actually risen very sharply today ahead of that move. Current situation that looked like a bull flag near support. Current situation is that above the April resistance there, 0.38, we're looking for up to 0.72. Hopefully by the end of this month, especially if we can get a decent end of day close above the 200-day line at 0.45 on the close today. Lots of gem activity going on at the moment, which is rather weird, given that it hasn't happened for a long, long time. But Botswana, we're breaking that falling trend channel there from the spring of last year. We have an area and looking for up to 0.34 as soon as the end of this month, which is top of that triangle there from August last year. Ideally, we stay above that 0.17 area from now and don't go back below the 50-day line, 0.15. On to a decent situation at the moment. Boku still edging up there. The best part of the call last week on the bullish side was the way that we broke the resistance area at 195. At 1195, we're looking for 230. Looking for that now by the end of this month, and probably rather more than that, but that is a conservative target, because we always go for the conservative approach. Moving on to Sell AI, which made a bit of a mockery of the charting at the end of last week, because obviously there was a £10 million raise. What's interesting now is that we've actually bounced off the floor of that rising trend channel, 0.25. Above that, we're looking for, obviously, the shares to head back to the top of the range, recent range, or the top of the channel, rather, 0.6, maybe by the end of next month, by the end of August. The first buy signal, apart from bouncing off the floor of the channel there, would be an end-of-day close back above that second gap there, 0.37. Moving on to Dialight, which delivered a decent update. I think this week here you can see that we've hit the second target there, 195. Above that now we're going for broke and going for a £2.80 target, perhaps by the end of August. Ideally, we stay on the right side of 180. In the meantime, I think we go below that, then probably we've done enough for the meantime. Next up is Gem Resources, and here suspicions that the shares were turning around have proved to be correct. I'm not quite sure if there's been any exciting news to accompany that. No, there hasn't actually been. So it's been rising on no news. Presumably somebody is sniffing that something very exciting is about to happen now. The upside here, 0.74, and we've been looking for that since we broke the falling trend channel there at 0.3 pence. Ideally, we close above the April resistance there at 0.48 today to give us a pretty quick move to 0.74 by the end of this month. Obviously, we've already had the resistance there at the 200-day moving average. On to another gem situation, which is Gemfields, and here we closed that gap that was spotted yesterday at 5.8 pence. Above that, the target, initial target, 7.4 pence. Second target, maybe by the end of next month, would be 11 pence, the upper parallel of that rising trend channel base. Moving on to Mindflair, and here it looks like we're finally getting some decent traction. We've had a double bounce for the RSI over the last month at neutral 50, but rising 50 and 200-day lines are both rising in parallel, and looking for at least 1.6 pence, the old one-year resistance, by the end of this month. Ideally, we stay above the 105 level, which was the initial June resistance. Moving on to the stock, which I never thought I'd be charting again, but can't resist it. Provexis. Here you can see that we're in a broadening triangle, and top of the triangle there at 1.1 pence, and we're looking for that while we're above recent resistance around the 0.7 pence area. That's post-2024 resistance. On to quantum blockchain, where actually we'd be surprised the shares haven't gone up more given the whole crypto excitement. The latest news from the company was obviously the news last week in terms of the final results, and so Bitcoin mining talks maybe is the driver there. You can see that we've hit our target there, but we've hit it twice actually, 1.2 pence. End of day close above 1.2, looking for the shares to fill the gap there up to towards the 1.6 area by the end of this month. Ideally, we stay above the 1 penny area. You can see that we had an RSI 50 rebound. So we are looking for a decent move to the upside, a sort of V-shaped bull flag, as I call it, as well. The last two are next. The first one is Smarter Web, everyone's favorite Bitcoin play. Bitcoin treasury play, actually. Yesterday we managed to have a blue candle, or a clear candle, which is almost miraculous after the hammering the shares took. Apparently the company's got £38 million in the bank, which is more than most of us. Effectively bounced off RSI 50. So let's see if we actually go all the way back up again. What we'd really like to see, I think, is an end-of-day close through the initial resistance of this week around 255. I think that's the magic number. If we can do that, then it may be 3 to 350 would be the first target. See, the 50 and 200-day lines are both rising, as well as having the RSI now on the right side of neutral 50. Finishing off with the Westminster Group, where the contracts seem to be coming in thick and fast. That is thick and fast enough to allow the shares to hit the initial target there at 2.75 pence. I think that was effectively the high of the day, which is not a bad look. Next level up is up to 3.5 pence, which we're looking for by the end of this month, while we're above the 2.5 pence initial June resistance. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.